Hey, welcome back to another episode of The Truth in the Youth. I'm your host, Nilesh Pillay, and today I'm honoured to be joined by the one and the only Terry Smith. Round of applause, please, everyone.
Thank you.
Terry Smith. So please, Terry, just give us a quick bio about yourself. What does you do and what motivates you to get out of bed every day?
Oh, well, I'm retired now, so it motivates me to is usually exercise. And actually work a bit with Vinnie's as well for the
really?
for the homeless. So yeah, I'm an ambassador for Vinnie's.
Oh, wow.
So most of my days are taken up with doing something to do with that, to do with the CEO sleep out and trying to create some events to create some money from that.
Yeah, right.
So and partly on the business that we own that we'll talk about today, I guess.
Yes.
So we sold that a number of years ago, but I'm still a major shareholder, my wife and I, and still I still get involved in terms of board meetings and a few projects here and there.
Yeah. Well, so your business is, I guess you've started a lot of businesses and you've purchased a lot of businesses, and it's become National Tyre Wheel.
Today, yes.
Yes, today is National Tyre Wheel.
Quite a journey.
Yes, long journey. And when did that journey start?
Well, look, I've been in the tyre industry all my life, actually. I grew up in the tyre business.
Yeah.
My parents were in tyres.
Okay.
And had retail stores in Canberra.
Canberra, yep.
Yeah, so I grew out of there and went from sweeping the floors in the retread factory to running the businesses, a small group of stores, before I came to Queensland. My wife and I left Canberra when we were mid-30s, 1989.
Yeah.
Came to Brisbane, wanted to start our own business, and we bought a retail store at Maruka on Ipswich Road.
Yeah, wow.
And started there.
And that was
it was Discount Tyre Service, we called it.
Okay.
Which was our family name for our businesses in Canberra. My
Yeah.
family. Biggest mistake I made, by the way.
Why? Why is that?
Well, to go into a new market, and in Canberra, that was a business that was 40 or 50 years old, and it stood for very high quality, good service. When you move it to a new state, what does it stand for? Cheap tyres. It was totally opposite. So anyway, that's a different story. So we went through that retail business. We eventually changed it to Forbies, which was then focused just on the four-wheel drive industry.
Yeah, right. And four-wheel drives is primarily what you guys specialised in? Or did you do passenger wheels and?
We did everything, but we made four-wheel drive the specialty.
Okay.
I learnt late in life, that you need to specialise in one thing to really succeed or be a major player in a market or a product.
Yeah.
So we narrowed it, and Cooper, 20% of their business is four-wheel drive.
Right.
So that they're big in car tyres and truck tyres and everything. But we're focused on four-wheel drive, and that was one of their best products. They developed that.
Amazing.
So that business went from Discount Tyre Service to Forbies, and then a couple of years later we started the wholesale business.
Okay.
Which was ETD, or Exclusive Tyre Distributors.
Yes, that's what I'm more familiar with, ETD.
You are, yeah.
So what was some of the, I guess some of the challenges that you would have faced in business in the early days?
Not enough money.
Not enough money?
Don't all businesses suffer that?
I think so.
So, yeah. Well, two things really. I wasn't educated enough, by the way. I worked in the industry, and I grew up in the industry, and
that's all right. That's all right.
And ran tyre stores.
Yeah.
But then when I owned my own, I realised what I didn't know, and that was the financial side of it, and also really the understanding the business side about different markets.
Yeah. So basically, when you started, was there times when things were going well, or was there at the beginning things were very hard consistently, and then it just got better? As in, was it exponential, or was it like a bit?
We bought the store. We were very fortunate, right? We had done very well in our career in Canberra and running tyre stores, and we ended up owning our own house by 35.
Yes.
Sold it, came here debt free, bought the business. I think we had 10 people in that business. Within 2 years, we were down to 3 of us.
Wow.
And that's how much I misread the market.
Mm.
And by the time I figured it out, it took us another couple of years to sort of get the business back and build it again.
Yeah.
So, yes, lots of ups and downs. But, yeah.
So when did you, I guess, start branching out and also asking, other businesses for advice or going into partnership and start bringing other people on?
Oh, no, well, that's very late. Actually, in those early years, it was just ourselves and
our
one business.
So that was more later in your journey?
Yeah. In those early days, it was us against the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And did I mishear, but did you used to own a Alfa Romeo dealership?
No, I managed one.
You managed
I
one.
managed one for a couple of years.
And when was that?
Oh, that was back in the early 80s. Yeah, that was a mistake.
Why was that? Why was that a mistake?
I know you love Alfa Romeos.
Yeah, I know.
Probably good cars today, but back in the 80s, lots of issues, lots of problems.
I still got a couple problems today, as you would know.
Okay.
You've driven my car, you know.
Yes.
But yeah, that's all right.
They're good fun, though. Good fun to drive,
Yeah.
I admit.
So in terms of, I guess, leadership in running a business, how important is that? Managing people and dealing with real emotions and whatnot.
Well, if they won't follow you, it's pretty hard to go too far.
Yeah.
You can only do so much on your own. If you want to bring people with you, you've got to learn how to do that. So yeah, leadership's a key thing. And look, working with them, especially when the business is small, you can work hands on with the people. It becomes like your friends, like a family, and then you can bring them along with you through that. So, but tough doing it on your own. So
Yeah, that's something they don't teach you in school though.
no,
Is I guess managing people.
yeah,
You know, they can teach you to do group activities and whatnot, but in terms of managing people and, you know, if someone's coming in after a bad day or a bad night and, you know, they bring that into work,
true.
how does that affect today's outcomes, you know?
That's true. And look, education, I think, is the key with that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can learn a lot about people and understanding before you got into business. With most businesses, if you work in them and you're not running them in a senior role, you don't get to learn that anyway. So
Yeah. So I guess in conjunction with that, motivation, how do you keep the team motivated? Is it daily toolbox talks or is it weekly targets?
Well, I've got to talk back a bit, right?
Yeah.
Because our business evolved. We were a few years into our retail business, and the wholesale business started to take off. You know, because we were bringing Cooper Tyres in from America.
Yeah.
We're at just the right timing. They wanted to expand internationally, so they helped us, and they made lots of changes to the product that you normally wouldn't get. So and it took a few years for that to sort of take, and that business started to really grow. And really, what motivated our staff was winning.
Right.
We had to think of everything our competitors weren't doing. We were the small player in the marketplace, and we were a nobody. Retailers didn't want to take our product. And so we just had to come up with ideas how to sell it to those retailers to take the product on, and then it was our business against all the others, and so we took no prisoners. We would fight every competitor, and so we didn't have really friends in the industry. We ran our own show, and developed our brand, and did a lot of testing and comparative, which in our industry a lot of that isn't done, or it's sort of frowned on. You shouldn't compare your product to somebody else's. Yeah. And we tested it and proved what was better about ours and what wasn't so good about the competitors. And that's what motivated our staff particularly, is that we winning the customers.
Yeah, the point of difference. And
yeah.
So did you say you went to America and pitched to them?
To get the product?
Yeah.
Originally, yes.
And what was that like?
Well, yeah, not easy.
Yeah.
We're a very small company in Australia, but I was lucky. I just clicked with the international manager, who just seemed to have some faith in me, and decided to try it. But so in a way, it was easy to get it, but it was still a hard slog to get the brand going in Australia. Was the biggest thing because it was an unknown product.
So how did you start marketing all that?
By figuring out what was different about the product to the competitors.
Is that like the ads I've seen where you're talking about the tread and all that?
Sure.
The Cooper advertisements you did?
Yep.
And were they hard to get on TV or?
Well, no, as long as you could afford to pay them.
Yeah.
No, initially we didn't do any of that. We just did hands-on training with our customers, our other retailers, and to show them. We not only found out, Cooper would then reverse engineer product and show us what was different, and then we would take that and then put it into a marketing form that we'd run some ads. So we'd run an ad. One of our famous ones was that manufacturers have been telling us all for years that you can't have both. You can't have grip and performance out of a tyre and long wearing. You got to compromise.
Yeah.
Well, it's not true. They can have long wearing tyres as well as high performance tyres, and we proved that with Cooper.
Yeah.
We had a tyre that would do 80 to 100,000 Ks, so we put an 80,000 kilometre warranty on it, and then we did tests in America as well as Mount Cotton here in Queensland.
Yep.
We did a lot of tests, invited our customers, our dealers along, and then showed them how much they stopped better on a wet road compared to the, say, original tyres. that were the same price that only did about 30,000 kilometres. So you can imagine how that went, you know.
Yeah.
And we use that in, first of all, it was just a hands-on training, testing, and then as we grew and we could afford it, we started to go to radio,
Mm-hmm.
and then from radio we went to television. So television came quite a bit later.
So what years were those
10
in?
or 15 years into our business.
Right. And when we doing radio?
Oh, back in the, that would have been in the early 2000s.
Okay. So when did you guys, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead or not, but when did you guys get involved with Mickey Thompson?
2000.
2000.
Yeah. We had Cooper in 1988.
Okay.
And 2000 we got Mickey Thompson. And I
Yeah.
really stumbled across that one. In America, I was looking for a racing tyre because we were selling to a lot of races here in Queensland.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was looking at just for that. But I got a lot more than I realised. It's a fantastic company, and they expanded into, the whole range of four-wheel drive tyres.
Yeah. And Mickey Thompson, I guess he's had quite a life, you know, interesting story.
Yeah.
But quite the legacy. And you know, when I used to work at the warehouses with you guys, his posters would be everywhere.
Yep.
And his shirts, and I still got one of his shirts, but
Yeah.
it's quite the legacy he had.
Yep.
So now, in terms of, you know, our podcast and what we like to talk about, The Truth in the Youth, is about, you know, young people getting involved with whatever our guest specializes in. So obviously you've run a very successful business over your life. You've had, you know, ups and downs, and obviously we'd love to hear about that, and basically how young people can get into business, small business, which leads to big business in terms of what you do. So I guess what do you think young people should do in terms of starting in business? The very start, when they say, I want to run a business, where, you know, and I think that majority of young people are going to say they go into business because they want to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Especially with everything they see online and all the clout, you know. But
what about I just explain a bit more of our journey with the business?
Yeah, please,
and
please.
then I'll
Yeah,
cover
yeah.
that.
No problem.
Because, you know, it's I've seen a lot of people in business that just exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
They're in it for the money, go after it thinking they want to start to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Not all of them succeed. A big percentage don't.
Mm.
The ones I've seen succeed, the ones that really get passionate about an industry or a product, and they're doing it to solve problems, not to necessarily make lots of money.
Mm.
And I've seen those succeed far better.
Yeah.
I guess ours is no different. As I said, we started in the retail store. By the time we worked out the market here in Queensland and our retail store got going, the Cooper Tyres, which we were importing, we figured out how to sell that product, how to position it, how to market it, and it got going as well. And then we started to have people all around Australia ring up, because in those days, if you wanted to, in the 80s, if you wanted to, or 90s, you wanted to advertise in a full drive market, it was in magazines.
Mm.
Magazines were national, even though we were just a Brisbane-based company.
Yeah.
So I'd run an ad for our store, and we would get inquiries from Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth, and of course this four-wheel drive tyre that was guaranteed to last for 80,000 Ks gave us better grip as other tyres, costing the same amount of money. They were doing 30,000 Ks. So people were buying it from all over Australia, paying up to $25 a tyre freight, you know, to ship it to Melbourne and different places. So that's when we realised we had a wholesale opportunity.
Yeah.
So we grew Cooper. We did a lot of marketing and training and that.
Mm-hmm.
But we then trained our people and did a lot of work on training and developing the staff to be able to explain that. And then really in that business, you know, Suzanne and I, my wife and I did this together, by the way. I definitely wasn't on my own. From the very start, she was in there and ran the business as much as I did.
Yep.
As I stepped into the growing business, another role, she would run the one that I stepped out of. So all the way through. And simply in our mid-50s, we realised that we need to have a succession plan for the business, and we need to have an exit strategy. So I started looking at mergers and acquisitions.
Yep.
At that part of the industry, private equity, at going public, selling as a trade sales, and then we realised that it would probably be a public listing. We'd go down that road, and it took us 10 years to actually do that, and we had to diversify the business end. So one supplier isn't good for a business when you're trying to go public. So we actually had to buy businesses then and broaden the base of the business, and then before we could list it. and that happened. So it was really a 26-year journey from when we started that wholesale business to do that.
Yeah, wow.
And look, young people today, you're right, going into business, I just don't think it's the right reason to go in just to try and make money. If you go in and you have a product or an industry, especially an emerging industry, and you can figure out ways that you can solve problems for people, you can help them with a product, I think, and that's where the passion comes out as well.
Yeah.
That's infectious and it grows. And that happened with us. I mean, our staff in those early days, they were like family. We did things together on weekends. We went forward driving weekends together. We did lots of family things together. And, of course, that creates then the passion of then back into the business on Monday and go. Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess going from a small business to a big business to a publicly listed company, what do you think transition-wise was the hardest? Was a big business to the publicly listed company? Getting an IPO, and was that?
Oh, that was hard, but no. The early days in the business, or the transition of wholesale and finding enough money to keep financing the business was probably the biggest strain and stress of the business. But as far as getting to listing, it meant you just had to do the steps that you need to do to structure the business around that.
Yeah.
We got to be a large private company, so we structured it to be a large private company that looked like it was run like a public company. So we put a board on. We started being audited.
Yeah.
And then we just structured it. And then it took us 10 years to be able to change that business to make it saleable.
Yeah. Wow. Sorry, Terry. Just try and move your microphone a bit closer to you.
Yep.
Just try and do that.
Sure. How's that?
Bit better? Yeah. There we go.
That's better. Okay.
That's all right.
Am I too quiet?
Nah, a little bit. That's a good thing about podcasts, though. It's a bit more casual.
Yeah.
It's not too serious, so we can, talk about these things.
Okay.
That's all good. Yeah, so finding enough money, something we all struggle from. That's all right.
Yep.
So
I think one of your questions, you asked me earlier was, what's the barriers for young people getting into business, or what's the first thing you struggle with? And it's cash.
Not having rich parents. No.
not having enough cash behind you usually.
Yeah.
Because that first couple of years in a business, usually you're growing and you're putting it back into the business, and if you don't have a bit of backup for something going wrong, it can cause the business to fail pretty quick.
What about finding investors? Is that a hard thing?
Well, we never did. It was just my wife and myself in it, but depends on the industry, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So you become public, and that was, what year was that when you guys, 2015?
2017. Yeah.
So that was just before COVID?
Yep. So
did COVID affect the business in any way?
Yeah, it did. It did. For the first couple of months, it was terrible.
Yeah.
And, it just, sales went through the floor.
Yep.
And then it seemed to change. It changed because of the fact that people weren't travelling overseas, and they went camping. So all of a sudden,
that's the only holiday you could do.
Correct. And they needed tyres, so our industry boomed.
4-wheel driving.
Yeah, it took off for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
And it gave us a bit of false impressions about some of the businesses we had, frankly. Some of the businesses that within our group at that point weren't as strong as they should be. And, of course, COVID gave them a full sort of look about how strong they were. And then we had that post-COVID sort of dip again.
Mm. That's quite interesting. Mm. And then after COVID, things went back to kind of smooth?
Yep, just like, of course, it's still had ups and downs since then.
Yeah.
That's business.
Yeah. Wow. So for young people, what do you think is probably something they should have as a mantra or a set of principles before starting business?
Look, I think working in the industry, if they've picked an industry they want to do,
yes,
is work.
Agree with you. Yep.
Working in it first, and be prepared to sort of work your way up in the industry. And I think that's the key thing. I've seen people trying to start businesses and they just pick an industry and in it for 5 minutes and think that they could succeed. And there's so many idiosyncrasies in any business, in every industries.
Yeah.
So I think that's the key thing, is to not just research it, but to actually work in it and get to understand it.
Have some life experience and some years behind you.
Yep, that helps.
Yeah.
That helps too. But particularly in the industry where you're going to go,
Yeah.
I think that's the key thing.
Yeah. Well, we all see we see way too much. It's really social media. We see too much social media where young people are super rich and all the
True.
entrepreneurship. They say I'm an entrepreneur and
Yep.
there's all these quick ways to get rich overnight. It only takes 3 years to get rich.
Yeah.
Maybe.
They're a lot smarter than me then. It took me a lot longer to
Yeah,
get
no,
business
it's. I guess it's just a false. It's a misconception of reality.
Yeah.
And I think everyone thinks it's a lot easier to get wealthy in business than what it really is, and a lot of more hard work and persistence and resilience.
Correct. Yep. Look, I think people underestimate a business of how easy it is, or you own your own business, you're your own boss. But what they don't realise is the amount of work, as you said earlier, how many hours you put into it. We had our early days in our business was a 5.5 day business, but it was every night and 7 days. The weekends we're getting ready for the Monday again, cleaning up.
Yeah.
So it was a 7-day business and night time as well.
Yeah.
And if the business is growing, it just doesn't stop. It just
more work.
Correct. So it's the hours, it's the effort, and it's the sacrifice.
Yeah.
If you take young people, particularly, the sacrifice is in the social time, probably, and friends, and then the sacrifice can be family too, depending on on the business and how that goes in terms of success of it. Often ruins family. So
yeah. So I guess this takes me to my next point in terms of the mindset and the discipline around business.
Yeah.
So in difficult periods, you may have brushed over this before, but resilience, how do you personally stay resilient? Like, what do you do? Is there, obviously you get away from the business, you do your hobbies and
I go for motorbike ride.
Motorbike ride, that's what I want to hear, yeah.
No, I do that now.
Yeah.
Back in the day when I had to be resilient because of changes and shifts in the business, or if it was, whether it was COVID or the financial crisis, that was a good one, going through that. But no, to be resilient was really just getting focused on what the problem was and working towards that, and staying focused.
Yeah.
And having someone you could bounce it off. A business partner, I think, is the key. If it wasn't a business partner, it was a spouse. I was lucky; it was both with me.
Yeah.
But so someone to sort of work through that with, and I think that's the key. One of the keys.
Yeah, having someone.
Yep.
Okay. Discipline. I think a lot of people, young or old, lack discipline, or they need to have more discipline, including myself.
Okay.
Might I add? But discipline. What role does discipline play in that long-term success in business?
Look, when the business is really small, not a lot.
Yeah.
You just got to make it happen, and it's it's all hands on.
Yeah.
But as the business grows and you go from 2 or 3 people to 10 and 20 and 30, yes, you need processes to repeat the success. What works, you keep doing it. If it's a service part of the business, you've got to make sure you have a process that's really strong to maintain the service and the safety, especially in our industry. And you've got to have the discipline then to do that. To keep that going. And that could be standards of the business. It could be the workshop side of it. It could be the sales part of it. But I think it's really important, especially as the business grows. The bigger it grows, the more process, the more systems you need, which is a bit of a downfall as well for larger businesses. But it has to happen to keep that discipline in there.
Yeah. So what are some things you've definitely learnt over your life in business?
Oh. What have I learnt over my life in business? A lot. Look, if I had to over again, I'd go back to school.
Go back to school?
I mean, seriously, I didn't finish school. I was so excited to get into the tyre industry. And I thought I did very well growing up in it and working in it and then running retail stores. But I didn't understand marketing. I didn't understand the finance side of it. And it was only then when we had our own business and we suddenly realised I was very lucky that my wife worked with me. So she did a lot of did all the finance side actually. She did that discipline part where she made sure everything was working. But I mean, I think that's one of the things I'd go back. I would have gone back to school. I would have got trying to get educated a bit on business and a bit on marketing and different things, which would have made a big difference to our success early on. And in many cases, we would have failed. But
tertiary education you're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So uni, TAFE.
Yep. I think having that behind you to start with can just help you make the better decisions.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people say to me, "Wow, you must have planned that really well to go and get Cooper Tyres in America, bring it to Australia. It's been such a success,
Yeah.
and you must have been had that all planned." And I said, "No, a lot of things we did happened at the time for different reasons, but a lot of it wasn't planned. So we're very fortunate in a way that a lot of the things happen with us. But I think in most businesses, if you had if you had the knowledge, the training before to sort of research the industry and do things, you could do it with a purpose and be more successful."
So what would you say to those young people that, see a lot of messaging out there that modern education, modern business education is a lot of nonsense and it's a money grab for the government? What would you say to them about that? The ones that want to go into business and hear that.
Yeah. Well, they need to talk to someone a bit older, I guess, that's gone through the failures and ask them why they failed or what they've learnt through the business. And what you learn over 10 or 20 years in a business, really you could learn through tertiary education. So much of that.
Yeah.
Help you make less mistakes and be more successful, more chance of success.
And I guess you're more, as someone studying a business degree, we do come face to face with a lot of clients as part of our assessments. And, that is at least it's a little bit more practical work. And, I guess if we don't have access to someone who's older in business, we've got that sort of access. But, there should be a little bit more emphasis around the tertiary education in business. So before we were talking about Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yeah?
Did you want to just reiterate what you were telling me about that?
Oh, well, I was just saying I went to his seminars.
Where was that? Sydney?
Yeah, it was in Sydney, yes. Yeah. And I read his books, and but I realised it's not transferable. The skills that he has isn't transferable, even though we sold them, and he made a lot of money out of his books and his videos. But I don't think it's transferable because, he talked about, when he was young, he wandered the streets of Hawaii.
Yeah.
And when he was exercising and saw opportunities with housing, he bought housing, sold it, he visited people, and he talks about what to do to succeed. But the other part of it is the rich dad, poor dad. And the poor dad was his father and the rich dad was his friend's father who mentored him and taught him so much. And that's not transferable. He had skills because based on his experience of that rich dad, his friend's father.
Yeah.
And he could transfer that into what he did. You and I haven't got that mentor.
Yeah.
So we just got the things that he did, but there's more things that go behind that helped him at the time make decisions or do different things.
Yeah.
So
everyone's life's a bit different.
Correct.
Can't walk around the streets of Hawaii.
Yeah, I'd like you to tell me someone who's read his books and watched his videos and has been a fantastic success because of it. So
yeah,
but I haven't heard of anyone.
Yeah, well, it would be nice. It would be nice.
Yeah.
All right. We could talk about plenty more, but before I forget, I ask this to all my guests. I get a like a message or a quote. If you had one message or one quote that you've heard in your lifetime, you've heard someone else say or you live by for young people, what would it be?
You're talking about in business, huh?
In business, anything, yeah. Preferably business, I think, yeah.
Get educated.
Get educated.
Seriously.
Smarten up.
It's the thing I lacked the most, and I realised, honestly, it did hold me back. I was just very fortunate, with my wife that we worked it together and succeeded in the business, but we could have, on my own, I would have failed for many reasons. But education was the biggest one of not understanding the finance side of the business.
Yeah.
So I think education would be the key thing I would say. And also if you're going into if it's business that they're thinking about, as I said before, it's research and experience in that area. So you could observe and you could find out all the problems in those industries. Because if you can solve the problems, you can often create a business out of it too.
Yeah, wow.
It's hard to do it from the outside.
Yeah. So education around finance, legal, and marketing.
Yeah.
Just everything.
Yeah.
make
all that side of it. Yeah. If
Yeah.
if you want to go into business, that is.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do business, maybe it doesn't matter as much.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's everything, Terry.
Okay.
Is there anything I've missed?
I don't know. Have you? You're asking the questions.
I don't think so. I think for now this is great, but I would love to have you on again.
Okay.
Talk more in depth about your business ventures.
Yeah.
If that's all good with you.
Sure.
But that would be great.
Okay. Thanks, Neelish.
Thanks for your time, Terry. Appreciate it.